Hey, I'm Coach T, and this is one of the Python mini project videos. These videos that I'm producing, I'm putting out like one a day for a week straight to give you a bunch of different topics that you can practice on, building something cool to show you how you can use all the skills that we have learned together through the Python Quick Code series. Up to this point, we've built an email concatenator. We've built a whole bunch of stuff using lists in the last couple of weeks. And now it's time to build a simple D20 battling system based on Dungeons and Dragons. So if you're ready to roll with me, let's roll for initiative and roll right into the video. Okay, so here's our big idea. Simple D20 battle system. I'll explain it to you in case you're not familiar with Dungeons and Dragons. So in Dungeons and Dragons, when you want to attack a character, you roll a D20 or a 20-sided dice, and then if your roll exceeds or ties your target's armor class, you're successful. If you're successful, then you roll damage to figure out how much damage you deal to the target character. And if you roll a 1, it's a critical automatic failure. And if you roll a 20, you deal double the damage. So we have a lot of conditions, and I think we have some space to write some functions. So you have the precepts of the program now. You have the idea of what needs to be built. What we're going to do is I'm going to recommend that you pause the video and build as much of this system as you can. Try to pack it into a while loop as well so you can just keep rolling and dealing damage. And I'm going to build it after the pause and show you how I'd attack this particular project using functions. So, all right, with that said, pause me, go write out your simple battle system, and come back and see if we derived similar solutions. All right, ready, set, roll. Okay, after the jump now, we are going to begin to build it. So what do I need? First of all, I need to import random as R. I just prefer having it called R. It's simpler for me. And then I want to declare an armor class variable. So we're going to call it target AC equals, and we'll say 14. Seems fair. Now I also want to have my own strength score. So my strength, I play D&D, so these are all stats that I know. I'm going to call that 3, pretty good, right? And that can be added to my dice roll. So depending on how familiar you are with D&D, you may or may not add some of these features in, but ultimately the mechanics that we're about to go through are all the same. We are also going to work on defining our attack roll, and that is going to require the target AC and my strength. And within, I need a colon. Within that, we are going to say D20 roll equals r dot rand int 120. So that means that I can roll a 1 or I can roll a 20. Now I want to, I could deal with the entire tree of possible outcomes right here, but it's not good encapsulation. It's not good object-oriented design, and we are building towards object-oriented design. So I think what we're actually going to do is, we always know an attack roll is always a D20 in Dungeons and Dragons. So we're actually just going to return this value. So that means that whatever we get out of it, we're going to be returning the random int. And I don't think we need that anymore. So I think we can simplify this entire method. We need a damage roll. So now we need damage roll. And this, we definitely need my strength. So let's see here. We're going to do return so we have multiple dice types in Dungeons and Dragons. Do we want to have a single damage roll that takes in my strength as a possible parameter, or as a parameter, and also has another parameter for the number of sides on the dice. That might be the best way to go, because then we don't need multiple damage roll functions. We can just have one. So let's specify dice and my strength, and we're going to give this a default value of 0 as well, just in case we don't have it there. And we're going to return r.randint. 1 is always the minimum on a dice, and dice. So that should give us the upper bounds plus my strength. Now, if the default is 0, then my strength will just be 0. It won't add anything. But what this gives us is the potential to, on a 6-sided dice, if my strength is 3 and we roll a 6, we would get a 9 returned out of it. So there's the beginning of our damage roll system here. Now, what we also need is a critical hit. Critical hit. And for this one, I don't think we need to take in a parameter. Well, you know what? We will take in a parameter called damage. And we will return damage times 2. So that will give us the damage dealt by a critical hit, and we will also print critical hit like that. Oh, it can't go after the return statement because return kind of acts like break. Okay, so now we have 3 of the definitions here. We have our 2 stats, and I believe we are ready to go on to build the rest of the program. So we want to say while true to begin our game loop. We are going to do attack roll, and we're going to have attack equals attack roll, and that should assign an integer value to it. And we can say if attack is greater than or equal to target AC. And here's the beginning of our if-then tree. Then we can say damage roll. And we will pass in the dice. So let's see, we need to set my damage dice equals, we'll call it an 8, like we're swinging a long sword two-handed. So we'll say my damage dice, and what else do we need? My strength. There we go. So now we're passing in an 8 and a 3. And else print miss. And we can say now the next component of our while loop, print roll again. And we can say, oh, actually, you know what? In Python, this is easier. We can say response equals input. Roll again. If response is exactly equal to yes, continue. Else break. Now we have our entire loop. What we don't have, though, is we don't have a critical hit. We also don't have a critical fail. So here's what we're going to do. We always want to program to the most specific instance first. Then we work to general, and that way we don't fall into traps. So we're going to say if attack is exactly equal to 20, we're going to call critical hit. And I just realized we can't put this there. We need to put it here, like that. There we go. And now we can pass in the damage. And I'm seeing that I had forgotten to assign damage to the damage roll. Right now, if the attack is greater than 20, then we roll damage. And if the attack is a 20, we critical hit the damage. and we can say damage equals, now we're going to override that damage roll with the doubling out of the critical hit function, which will also print critical hit, right? Now, else we miss, and we do have one more scenario. We need to deal with the critical miss. So we can also say if attack is exactly equal to 1, print critical hit or critical miss. You suck. And we do need to change this into an elif. There we go. We have, I believe, the entirety of what we need in order to build our mini project here. So let's go back up and take a look. We have created a simple D20 battle system that checks whether your roll succeeds and rolls damage if so. So that's this logic element, right? If the attack is greater than or equal to the target's AC value, then it rolls damage. And we even worked in the bonus. How do we deal with critical hits? Well, if that roll is 20, then we roll the critical hit function, which doubles the damage, returns that, and reassigns that to our damage variable. Otherwise, it prints miss. Now, we don't have a target HP value, so we can also say target HP. But before we get there, actually, let's run it and just see if it works. And then we can add in the HP thing. All right, we missed. Roll again. Oh, I killed my own program because I didn't type yes. My bad. Critical hit. Yes. 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 Okay. So a couple quality of life things is it's not repeating, it's not printing off what we rolled, right? So let's add that in first. So we're going to get a little bit of scope creep, but print off what the roll was, and we will look for a way to deal with target HP. Very easy to implement these because we're using so much reusable code here. So we only need to worry about what's going on here. And really, we could tie this entire thing into one attack function. But let's not overcomplicate what we're doing with our mini project, because I want to keep this video at 18 minutes or less. So if the attack equals 1, okay, critical miss equals you suck. If the attack is greater than the target AC, we will print attack, and we're going to turn this into an F string. So print attack roll followed by our curly braces. It's really hard to print when Visual Studio Code is getting in my face like that. We'll give it an exclamation point. All right, now damage equals damage roll. So maybe we should also print F damage is damage. Okay, and now we'll run this before we deal with the enemy HP. Okay, damage 11 on an attack roll of 19. That's pretty solid. I am wondering, does this deal with... No, if we had critically hit, we would have gotten the wrong damage reported because I put that in the wrong spot. We don't want to print... Oops. We don't want to print the damage until we are sure what the damage is. So let's try that again. We missed. Yes. Miss. Roll again. Yes. Miss. Yes. Roll again. Come on. Ugh. Okay, there we go. Attack roll of 17, damage of 8. All right, that was a very realistic Dungeons & Dragons encounter when I am rolling dice. Miss, 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 miss. So, now we need to deal with the enemy HP. So we're going to do target HP equals, let's say, 20. And we're going to make another change here. While target HP is greater than 0, this will continue. And at the end of the loop, we'll print you win. That way the user knows that the program terminated for the appropriate reason. So we're going to run it. And, oh, before we do that, I got ahead of myself. I got excited because it's coming together quickly now, isn't it? We need to subtract. So target HP minus equals damage. And we're doing it at the end to make sure that if there's a critical hit, it's properly assigned. So There we go. Now we can see it. So we're testing it as we go. We should see every time we roll a success that the enemy HP goes down. Okay, so the enemy HP went from 20 to 13 with a roll of 7 damage. That seems right. Yes, yes. Okay, critical hit, and now they're at -7, and I should not be able to roll again. Yes, you win. Okay. So, all right. Wow, that is. Why did it allow me to go? Oh, you know why it allowed me to go again is because even though it dropped down below, the code continues to execute top down. So how would I stop that from happening? I might say in here, if enemy HP is less than 0, break. Oh, it's got to be target. All right. Now we should not be able to get the enemy HP below 0. Yes, yes. Critical miss, you suck. Great. Yes, 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 yes. Told you. This is how it always is. Okay, now it went down below, and it did not give us a chance to repeat that loop, which is exactly what we were looking for. And that brings us to 16.5 minutes. In that 16.5 minutes, we have put together a simple battle system using Python, using our random module. We have included, we kind of got scope creep there, but what we got at the end is a little game loop, right? So very, very easy way to create a dice roller that allows us to have a practical application. In this case, to randomly roll for D&D. We could tie this to a character class if we had that, using, where the character class sets what the damage dice of the equipped weapons are, stuff like that. A lot of different ways that you could plug this type of logic into a bigger project as your skills grow. And I hope your skills are growing. So with that said, I'm Coach T. I had fun putting together this little battle video. I am going to get out of here, and I'm going to encourage you to go practice and go use this type of logic to go build something cool this week. All right. I will see you in our next mini project video. I have no idea what it is. I'm just doing them as they come to mind, and I will see you in the next video, I hope. Consider subscribing to the channel if you like this kind of head-first, project-oriented, practical approach to learning. Adios.